In this review, I'm going to review the top 5 CPUs for LGA 775 socket. CPU is the brain of the computer as it contains all the processors. The only component that matters the most in gaming after the GPU is the CPU, and if you choose a bad one, then forget about a smooth gaming experience. So, here I am bringing you the list of top CPUs for the LGA 775 socket graphics card. I researched several CPUs and filtered out some of the best for a better experience of LGA 775. I'll leave the links to the discussed CPUs in the description, you can check them for more information and the latest prices. At number 1 it is Intel Core 2 Quad Q6600. Intel Core 2 Quad Q6600 is one of the best CPUs for the LGA 775 socket as it provides reliable long-term performance, along with superb cooling. Q6600 includes 2 dual-core CPUs in one physical package, but it is actually a quad-core processor that can process twice as many tasks as its dual-core counterparts. A total of 8 MB of 2 lira cache is provided, not as much as the 12 MB of the very latest Core 2 CPUs, based on Intel's 45nm process, but still more than enough to provide a fantastic turn of speed. Even when you use applications, games being a particular example which only uses 1 or 2 of the cores. Each core has 4 MB shared between it, so if a single core really needs that much memory, that can be taken from the package. The Core 2 architecture and 4 cores don't just provide the amazing performance, they are also incredibly energy efficient. Though your processor heatsink will rarely even get warm because of the array of energy-saving features such as enhanced speed step, the rated TDP of the Q6600 is quite high at 105 watt. One of the most amazing things about the Q6600 is its price. Programmers are focusing more on writing multi-threaded applications now, so you'll be able to utilize the 4 CPU cores for many years to come. Known for its quad-core technology, this model is an extraordinary product with a range of features. Performance, multitasking ability, speed, and efficiency are all better than previous technologies. Due to this processor, you can perform multiple tasks without experiencing any slowdown, which is quite normal for one-core processors. At number 2 it is Intel Core 2 Quad Q9400. For the best gaming experience, the Intel Core Duo Q9400 processor is at the top of our list of best LGA 775 processors. With this technology, it has higher endurance, since it has a 45nm architecture. Intel Core 2 Quad Q9400, released in August 2008, is a quad-core desktop processor. Core 2 Quad processors with Yorkfield architecture are part of Core 2 Quad's lineup with socket 775. This processor has 6 MB of 2 lira cache and operates at 2.666 GHz. Intel makes the Core 2 Quad Q9400 on a 45nm production node using 456 million transistors. Its overclocking potential is limited by the fixed multiplier of Core 2 Quad Q9400. The 95 watt TDP of the Core 2 Quad Q9400 means it draws a tremendous amount of power, so decent cooling is necessary. Intel's processors support DDR1, DDR2, and DDR3 memory with a dual-channel interface. A PCI Express Generation 2 connection enables Core 2 Quad Q9400 to communicate with other components in the system. The processor does not have integrated graphics, so you will need to buy a separate graphics card. The Core 2 Quad Q9400 supports hardware virtualization, which greatly improves virtual machine performance. 2.66 GHz Core 2 Quad Q9400 was designed, like the majority of quad-core products, with the demands of a demanding audience in mind. Those who work with 2D and 3D video editing, complicated photo manipulation, and other complexities. At number 3 it is Intel Pentium E6300. The Intel Core E6300 processor has great performance and staying power for doing professional works at ease. In fact, it has high-end technology with a 2.8 GHz frequency for fast works. Based on a 45nm Wolfdale 2M processor, the Pentium E6300 offers 6 MB of 2 lira cache and is based on a 45nm Wolfdale processor. In order to reduce the die size to only 82mm, only 2 MB of the total 2 lira cache was used. Pentium E6300 models have little in common with older Core 2 Duo E6300 models, which were based on Conroe 65nm cores. The Pentium E6300 family is here to replace the soon-to-be expired Pentium E5300, and the E6300 models bring no innovations, except for higher clock speeds. A new FSB speed of 1066 MHz has been coupled with both cores on the E6300, allowing both to run at 2.80 GHz. Compared to Pentium 4 series E5300, this translates into DDR2 or DDR3 support at 1066 MHz, faster bandwidth, and smaller increases in per-clock performance. With the E6300, Intel's virtualization technology is finally available on lower-end models, and other than that, the E6300 and E5300 processors are identical. The E6300's operating voltage range is 0.85 to 1.3625 volts, and our test sample was set to 1.275 volts. The maximum power consumption is 65 watts. This model is based on Intel's older architecture and is LGA 775 compatible. Its memory controller is housed in the motherboard North Bridge chipset, which is connected to the processor via FSB bus, so you can expect lower memory performance and longer latencies. With Pentium E6300's 1066 MHz FSB bus, it supports DDR2 or DDR3 memory up to 1066 MHz. A motherboard's chipset determines the type of memory. In comparison to newer generations of AMD or Intel processors, the E6300 is quite simple in its inner workings, making it very overclockable. At number 4 it is Intel Core 2 Quad Q9650. The Q9650 processor is an LGA 775 CPU that provides good performance and has a more smart cache. This gives you the ability to perform different tasks quickly as a rabbit. Launched in August 2008, the Intel Core 2 Quad Q9650 was a desktop processor with 4 cores. Core 2 Quad processors run on the Yorkfield architecture using socket 775, and it is part of the Core 2 Quad lineup. There is 6 MB of 2-layer cache on the Core 2 Quad Q9650, and it operates at 3 GHz. In addition to its 45 nm production process and 820 million transistors, Intel is building the Core 2 Quad Q9650 processors. As of now, Core 2 Quad Q9650 has no overclocking capabilities because the multiplier is locked on it. Core 2 Quad Q9650 uses a lot of power. Its TDP is 95 watt, so some form of cooling is required. Intel's processors support DDR1, DDR2, and DDR3 memory with a dual-channel interface. Cortex-A9 Q9650 uses PCI Express Generation 2 connections to communicate with other components in the system. The processor does not have integrated graphics, so you will need to buy a separate graphics card. On the Core 2 Quad Q9650, hardware virtualization is available, which greatly enhances virtual machine performance. However, that's not all, as the processor has brilliant power abilities that are designed to be very energy efficient and fast. The battery performance of the laptop is enhanced with more energy. For those who prefer an unlocked processor, it has no option for that. Even though it offers less power, still it can perform faster with its max frequency speed that we find alright. A 12 MB smart cache is also included in the LGA 775 processors to support sharing larger files. Several cores are capable of using a level 3 cache. Overall, the multimedia processor has great value and perfect performance for game lovers to experience better. Plus, it supports a 64-bit processor for storing. And the last one is Intel Core QX6700 Quad Core. Intel's Core Smart Technology QX6700 processor is energy efficient and provides higher performance for content makers. Plus, it doubles the speed of work. The processor itself isn't a quad-core part. We mean that the 4 execution cores are not integrated on a single silicon die. Essentially, the QX6700 is 2 current Core 2 Duo E6700 2.66 GHz processors combined in a single physical package, which gives 4 cores on the whole. There is 1 die in the package for each core, resulting in a total of 8 MB in total capacity for the part. The level 2 cache is divided between those 2 cores, so each die has 4 MB. The good news is that the QX6700 is compatible with Core 2 and later Pentium 4s, thanks to the LGA 775 package. If you have a motherboard based on the 945, 965, or 975X chipset, you can replace it with an Intel 945, 965, or 975X motherboard, but you will probably have to upgrade your BIOS. Using an Intel 975X BX motherboard, we flashed the latest BIOS onto our test rig, dropped in the quad-core part, and it booted up without a hitch. The Performance tab in Task Manager showed 4 CPU load traces after Windows was up and running, so we were very pleased. Due to its fast 2.66 GHz speed, the board dynamic affecting boosts gaming and professional performance. The feature conserves energy and power for low system costs. Overall, it has great features, performance, endurance, and facilities for gamers to enjoy real visuals. The QX6750 CPU provides a smart user manual, heatsink, and fan. I have come to the end of my review. These all 5 are the best CPU for LGA 775 socket for better performance. Now it's up to you which will meet your budget and requirements. In my opinion, Intel Core 2 Quad Q6600 is the overall best CPU in terms of better gaming performance. The links are in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe our channel. Thanks for watching this video.